Kevin.
So,
My name is Mr. Man. On here.
where we had last left ourselves off was, yeah, you were sailing towards Freeport, if I'm to recall correctly. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If for no other reason, you're deciding to head that way to gather supplies to figure out the next leg of your journey. Which, now if I can get my things right there, do my little weatherman act. Uh, yeah, like it's gonna be right around in this area. So some conversations were had. Scotty did a little catching up with Dahadi, getting getting a little more uh, sense of who he is and speaking more on her growing confusion into her delvings into the matter of faith. Um, Roro and Gil
Yeah.
talked for a bit, perhaps coming to an understanding of some form, maybe. But ultimately, Gil had agreed to see if you were up to the task of actually undergoing the training that you were requesting, making some slightly suggestive comments towards the blue-haired man right at the end there. Not quite sure how that's going to turn out, but sure, why not?
None of those were suggestive.
That's quite the opinion you have right there. Uh, so, with that, the two of you have retired to your respective cabins for a bit of rest. The evening passes and into the next morning. You are free after the morning meal, a stew, which has been prepared for you. And you kind of go about your tasks. Is there anything specific that you are wanting to be up to at the time?
Railroad's going to report to Gale front and center.
Hmm. Well, along that line, Gil at this point has been relegated to night. Gil is the navigator here. He primarily does his job during the evening hours, as he is more accustomed to navigating by stars. And he'll leave the other bits of navigation to primarily Nicole, who who runs the uh, who runs the wheel during the day, and they kind of generally flip back and forth for that. So after doing a little bit of tidying in general, uh, how do we want to put it? Just boat tasks. It looks like Roro, you were, for the most part, you were put in charge of what is it? Stock. You've got a ledger of what the ship's stores are like: supplies, materials, foodstuffs, that sort of thing.
Okay,
Whereas
I'm important.
you both have tasks. I'm just saying that some of yours, Roro, are more being a bean counter, essentially. For Scotty, Not entirely sure where your interests will lie, but occasionally they. Yeah, I don't even know about you.
Dottie's
Because
pretty capable. She can do pretty much anything. What is that laugh for?
Nothing.
uh, you're probably being taught some of the rigging currently until you find some kind of thing that you want to be able to do on the boat, or find a place where you excel. That's kind of what you're doing.
With low dexterity, I feel that anything to do with ropes is a terrible idea.
You know what?
Let's hurry up where the night floats away.
Well, I was thinking
Let's
more that Scotty would end up tangled.
let's test this theory. Go ahead and check your dexterity straight up.
Oh gosh. Why did I say anything?
Because funny.
In the saving throws, is that what you want me to
Oh
roll?
no, it's not a saving throw. It's just a straight check.
Okay.
Well, it could have been worse.
Rogue gets caught on horn and taken all the way up.
Geez, what do you think a 12 stands for? No, it's like you try for a little bit because that's what they're asking of you. They're trying to feel that out, and like, okay, rigging and ropes probably not your best thing, but you don't make a fool of yourself.
Oh, well, that is approved of.
You're just not super great at it. So yeah, after you're kind of gone through there. What also with some of your skills, because I believe you have the prestidigitation cantrip too as well, right?
The what?
What are your cantrips like? What do you got?
Message, minor illusion, chill touch, acid splash, firebolt.
Okay, you don't have the ones that I was thinking you did. All right.
Sorry to disappoint.
No, it's okay. I just forgot how super aggro Scotty is. I'm just. There's nothing wrong with it. I thought there was a couple of other ones there. Um. So yeah, you're basically they're still trying to figure out what you can do without supervision. Not that you're incapable, just you don't have no boat tasks are like leaping out as, "Hey, I got this."
Well, I mean,
So,
she's a bookworm, so give her something booky to do.
Oh yeah, that's mop
And
mop
I mean,
up the floor.
she's really strong, so you could give her like manual labor.
well, I mean, that's probably what's going on. They want to they want to see if you specialize in something other than just pushing a mop around, essentially. Uh, and if I knew more about boats, I'd probably give you several other tasks, but
Study up, bitch.
they might end up putting you in charge of inventory and do something else with Roro.
You
But
know
for the
what
time,
she would like to do?
what would she like to do?
She would like to learn about the stars and navigating by stars.
Oh.
That is what she'd like to learn.
So she'd like to just spend all this time with Gil.
That's fine.
That's the one who just got him to agree to train you. Everybody wants to spend time with Gil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there's plenty of him to go around.
Damn right there is. Of course, everybody likes me. I'm a likable guy. I'm a likable guy. What can I say? Stop laughing.
No.
To hell with you all. So after you're done with your tasks for the current time, Roro, you report to Gil with kind of this trepidation. This like, okay, he said we're gonna see about this, and it's a lot more boring. The first this first stretch is a lot more boring than you were expecting it to be. Because
Do
it's
I get to say sarcastic comments about that?
I mean, there's nothing stopping you.
Yes, there is. It's called Gil.
I mean, there's nothing stopping you from doing it from doing it. Again, I'm not saying how intelligent an idea that is, but there's nothing directly stopping you from engaging in that sort of activity.
We need to start making me roll for this crap.
Like a will save. So a wisdom save to avoid snark. But so they don't have concentration as here. But okay, so you avoid snarking. However, we are going to have you make a wisdom check, just in general. Okay. So here's what happens to you. You are taken to the front of the boat and strapped on with the mermaid. No, we don't have a waterfall for you to meditate under, so this will just work. Getting hit by sea spray for 3 hours. This will be fine.
Wait, I go
No,
to the
no,
front of the
that
ship to meditate?
you are going to the front. You're not tied to the. You're not tied to the front, but you are on the front of the ship.
Oh, this
The
is not Roro speaking. It's me speaking. It's do you like it when I'm tired? Oh, continue.
oh, we're gonna have fun with you. So, yeah, let's just. Oh, geez, why is all this? So yeah, essentially you are put up on the front of the boat there, and now don't you move that shit.
You want to fight me?
You don't want to fight me.
Maybe I do.
That's pretty much a no. You don't. But yeah, essentially what ends up happening here is you are you were expecting. I mean, considering what you and Gil were talking about how you wanted to gain strength and all that good stuff. Uh, yeah, you are set down to meditate for a couple hours, just sitting there at calm, at peace, feeling the rock of the boat on the waves, the occasional spray of seawater into your face as it comes there. And yeah, Gil's just standing there.
Suddenly, he's
Why?
wishing he would have started this so much sooner. A quiet Roro.
You're fidgety. I mean, there's no denying that. This is hard. It's hard in its nothing. Just the time of just being still. You're used to being active in one form or another, wandering around, talking to people, being in a noise, singing, something. But this is just still and quiet and nothing happening.
Suddenly, everyone's lives got more boring.
Oh, everybody else has stuff to do. It's just It's a functioning boat. They're doing things.
Their life just became a little less annoying and loud.
A little bit less loud at the very least. Annoying is depending on who you're talking to. But that's how you spend your day.
I think
Just
good.
you survived.
Oh,
There was a few times where you did get thwapped on the shoulder. You don't know where he got it, but there's a small switch of a reed that Gil has, and that when you start getting fidgety, he just kind of at you and gets you to stop and calm down. You don't get the crap beaten out of you, but you do get whapped a few times during this. And after what seems like forever, Gil will say, basically, not bad, and kind of send you on your way for today.
and to do back to boat like duties.
Boat-like duties. I mean, yeah, it's just kind of this is how it goes for 4 days. To the point where you end up switching off with Scotty, who does her morning count. She's taken over that portion of your job, where you're brought into the galley, and you are made to. Let's see. Do we have anybody of that talent? I don't think we do, but I'll double check real quick here. Ah, indeed. You are brought into the galley where Syl is working. Apparently, the task while she's on the boat is cooking, and she's making a good she's making a good showing of it. So, yeah, you were kept from sleeping during that. I saw that picture. Screw you. But no, you are essentially playing sous chef to Syl.
Oh, that's me. Right. Okay.
Yes.
I was a little confused for a second. I am the sushi chef. That is gonna
Yeah.
be interesting.
Syl took over the galley, and you're basically kind of being a runner for it's like gathering stuff that she needs over here, doing some cleaning.
I feel like Scotty would do that job better.
Thanks.
Well, you're a pretty boy. I'm sure you never could.
Oh, sweetheart, that is very true. But he's not about to actually admit that for his sake of survival.
Yeah. They're finding stuff for you to do. You're both still trying to find your niche. As the evenings go, I'm guessing as you express interest, uh, Scotty, you spend more time with Gil at the wheel, who is willing to stargaze with you, essentially, because as was uh, as was previously mentioned, there are some new constellations in the sky. There are some ones that he knew about and still recognizes, but they're in different locations, and they're trying to gather what's going on. The drift has not once it's pulled away from the area of pursuit, we'll say, you're still staying kind of near to. You can see the edge of the continent, the landmass, off to the side, still, because as Gil is learning the stars and where they're at, they don't want to get too far off until he's got it pretty well down, and he's not quite there yet. In fact, I will go ahead and check on his progress on that regard. All right, he's not doing too terribly. He's learning. And Scotty, we will go ahead and have you make a general intelligence check. Okay. So you don't know all the stars. You never really were stargazing too much to begin with, but for whatever the reason here, you are really picking up what you're being taught. So you're quickly learning about as much as this new format as Gil is.
I'm proud of my little bookworm.
I kind of
So-
feel bad now.
Do you feel bad?
Yeah, because he's just training all these bitches now.
He's keeping occupied. It's also an excuse as while he's quote unquote training Roro, he's not having to do anything.
I mean, that's true, but I guess, someone's got to take one for the team eventually, so
What do you mean take one for the team?
take one for the team, relax, Gil a little.
Roll for intercourse? What? What are you even suggesting here?
Don't tempt them, they might actually make this a box on here.
Well, that would be a general charisma check. So
Well, Scotty rates like 0 in Christmas. We don't even have to worry about it.
Roro's the high.
which one's the high charisma character?
Roro.
Exactly.
Oh. It's why Captain Switcher likes me so much.
He likes he likes elves that don't wear shirts, apparently.
Can Syl go next time?
Syl's wearing a full slate colored robe with a hood.
Take it off, sweetheart. Anyways.
Angry bird noises. There's the caption for Syl. Okay. So yeah, this goes on for 4 days.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can Scotty be casually and occasionally studying the Master's Journal for that interesting writing she was dealing with last time they were on the boat forever?
Yeah. Go ahead and give me check your Arcana.
Damn, child.
Okay. Yeah.
Grabbed it by the horns and took it.
Oh, I got distracted. What?
Nothing.
Who's grabbing Scotty by the horns?
Nobody.
Did I misunderstand his comment? What? Okay, so yeah, okay. Over the course of the 4 days, you are able to piece together a spell.
Ooh.
It's going to require. I mean, and this was grueling labor on your part, to the point where you started. It's like you started feeling like you made headway that second day a little bit, and it kind of spurned you on because, hey, it's a mystery and I think I'm starting to get it. So you find yourself going through your counting more quickly, your book work about the ship's, supplies, and just to spend more time and just hammer at it and hammer at it. Well, at the end of the 4 days, you have pieced it all together. A couple of you've gone through a small stack of paper as you've just been kind of writing, the notes, the little different pieces, and almost like putting it together like a jigsaw puzzle in its own right, or even, I don't know, depending on how that worked, is it almost looked like serial killer notes, like with newspaper clippings everywhere that you were starting to put together.
Suddenly, everybody's concerned about the dragon lady on board.
Oh God, she's writing a ransom note. Who's she gonna hold hostage? But you do complete what looks to be the spell in this book. It's probably going to require more study to actually figure out what spell it is, but you've got the formulas there. You have this scroll out of pieced together stuff. You just don't know what it does yet.
Okay.
Why are your boxes on?
I don't. I think it's because I'm using.
Got robot-y all of a second, but whatever. Okay, so Roro,
Yay!
I'm gonna need you to make 4 wisdom checks.
Oh my god.
So you've got a couple of red marks on your shoulder that have not exactly had much time to heal. As it's like, oh God, this again? Uh, uh. So you don't do so hot on your meditations.
That's because he's holding all sarcastic comments inside and it's building up.
Apparently so. But yeah, you definitely got kind of marks kind of along your collarbones, along your shoulders. It's just to the point he's like if he switches me with that wing one more time.
Inner Roro dialogue. If you hit me one more time, this could be much funner if we let it be.
But yeah, that's that's how your time goes, unless you want to do something specific with the remaining days or your downtime, essentially.
I don't have anything I want to do.
Scotty?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. So, midday, day 5. You see a break in the coastline as you start drifting closer. You see this man-made wall that stretches out as far as you can see, and you begin following it.
Is this America?
Well, it's still in the water, so I don't know. Give it time. I don't.
That is so inappropriate. I'm sorry, my mouth opened.
Wow. But anyway, yes. Who knew I was going to be such a prophet? 20 years down the line. As you'll be informed that this is essentially one of the great barriers onto the Escandrun continent. There are no official ports of entry into the continent, because a lot of it is essentially raised ground, like sheer or generally impassable cliff face for the most part. Clearly, the Haldirei have found like the one little spot of land where they could kind of jump up to invade through, but this leads to Freeport, which is the kind of the gateway into this large bay area. It's, and you follow that for quite some time, and it's towards nightfall where you start seeing the lights of this central area, which look to be a massive dock system. It takes a moment, basically over the next couple hours into dark, you are put into essentially line and have your uh, the boats manifest. Basically, you go you're essentially in customs to be able to dock to, because at this point you're starting to get to the point where you're going to need supplies to restock for and figure out where you're going to head off from here to follow this vision that Scotty had.
This bitch taking us everywhere.
Yeah, someone's got to have some drive. So, with this, you you're eventually allowed in. You make dock, and Nicole is essentially going to be tied up in getting the supplies for the boat, where people kind of scatter. And this is essentially a large city on the water. A lot of stone pathways branching out from behind this wall, which is kind of like it almost looks like sluice gates, because they open up this massive slide of a wall of a gate to let ships in and out. You see there are several heavily armored and armed naval vessels that look with these massive ballista. They don't quite have cannons, but where the cannon deck would be are these huge ballista. And you see a couple that have catapults on the top deck. These things look like they're made for defense, and it's slightly intimidating. To the fact is, with what you would imagine get put into these things, can sink a ship relatively quickly. But nevertheless, your paperwork checks out, and you are let into Freeport. A lot of docks, it's basically like it's a massive. There are buildings that are kind of grown out of the seabed, which seems to be relatively deep. But it's like every time that there's like a house or a building, it looks like it's like a small broken up island almost, where these little pillars are used as supports for these long boardwalks. It's kind of impressive, and I wish I had some kind of visual representation for you, but I don't.
Was that a hint to the artist?
Uh, Either that or a reminder that I should draw something in preparation for things. You know.
Stop slacking.
Says the scenery artist.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
It does not.
It does not sound like a hint.
It's
it's
I'm a portraitist.
It sounded like a hint until I realized they were looking at me.
And yeah, there we go.
And no. So the crew scatters a bit. Uh, Nicole is still working with the dock masters to get the supplies. Tallow immediately kind of just goes inward and disappears with the crowd, essentially. Gil's still kind of hanging around the boat. Uh, Dahadi is not going much of anywhere. Seems kind of apprehensive to get off, to make himself known. But Syl will also kind of drift off casually with Tallow, leaving the rest of you to do as you wish.
Roro is definitely getting off that damn boat.
Gottie's gonna go up to the hottie and ask him, so are you staying on the boat?
I'm not entirely sure that it's the best idea to make myself known. I'm not sure how. I don't know how far Silverbow has eyes, and I'd rather not make trouble where I don't have to.
I suppose that sounds reasonable. And with
I.
that, he's going to head off the boat because she hates the boat. She hates all boats at this point.
Oh, jeez.
Roro's gonna walk up to Scotty. God, I hate boats.
And if. Did we just become best friends?
No.
No.
I think we did. Sad.
No, we are not friends. Okay, so the two of you have escaped the boat and onto more solid land. It's still not solid land, but it's not rocking and swaying. And
That is all Scotty needs.
At this point, Roro is walking with a rock and a sway.
yeah, you definitely have those boat legs, which just makes it
Two of them are
really
just
weird.
bumping into each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, sorry.
People
My bad.
wonder if you're drunk for a little bit, and they're like, "Oh no, they just got off the boat."
At this point, they should just go to a tavern. There's an idea.
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, that is an idea.
Well,
So-
Scotty doesn't really have a plan. She just is curious about seeing places. Seeing is she knows one town that's now ashes.
It might still be smoldering. You don't know.
That's not even pleasant.
So, Scotty goes wandering the town. Are the two of you sticking together or no?
I'm not walking away from this dragoness.
Okay. Well, unsurprisingly, there are quite a few fish markets. Small-time fishermen who earn their living within the bay. There are a couple of vendors, antiquities, I guess you could say. This is a trading port. You can find a lot of stuff here because things from the other continents have to kind of come through Freeport to be disseminated to the whole of Escandrun. So there's a lot of turnover of things here. If there's anything you're specifically looking for, there are quite a few taverns and restaurants here of a wide variety. Again, as a central trading hub, as the pass through, there's a lot of different cultural things. You are seeing critters. I mean, you're seeing halflings, dwarves, humans, elves of practically all colors of the rainbow. There's you see a couple with wings, which
Dorothy?
no, feathered wings.
Ah, well, never mind.
Yeah, there are some Avarial here, which kind of give you a little pause, but they don't seem to be directly affiliated with Doreen. Because as the two of you were aware of, Avarial, specifically a more Arctic variety of them, were kind of the inherently noble class in the Doreen Valley. Speaking to a little bit of um, the air of superiority that Father Silverbow had, being an Arctic Avarial in his own right, kind of held other Avarial as as almost their own caste. But a lot of the noble families were Avarial. Roro, you were a low class noble. So yeah, your family, you don't have wings. Uh, but a lot of the other like upper noble houses did.
Well. Scotty, let's find a boutique.
I'd rather
Clothes.
but
Scotty, clothes.
I understand.
Shopping.
I understand that you need a shirt, but
I don't need a shirt.
But I would rather look for books.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Clothes first, books second. I'll go with you. I'll be quiet.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Shut up. Fine. I'll go shopping for clothes. I won't get you anything.
I don't need anything.
Gwen, take me to the nearest boutique. Make it cheap. I mean, cute.
Well, check investigation.
No.
You can go back to the boat. It doesn't matter. Okay. Wow, damn.
Stand
Having a 0 in it and rolling a 19. Good job. Very good job. It takes you a little bit because as you're starting to find out that there's I'm trying to think of how to really describe some of these to describe this scene here, but the taverns, the inns, the forges, the places where things are actually made here to basically sustain the existence around Freeport. These are all on the like the pillars, the piers, the posts, the large land-based things. A lot of the other places that would be shops or like little places to eat, the exotic delicacies, these are all on separate boats of varying sizes. I know you guys haven't seen like The Fifth Element, and that's sad in this case, but
I have.
you have?
Yeah.
Okay, you know the food barge where
No.
that pulls up to the window, and the main guy has lunch.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. There's these small boats. I mean, I say small, but they're kind of like the size of like a school bus. So relatively small boats, but they have like a kitchen and stuff, and they have a small staff that kind of that are like anchored at a port, or like anchored along a part of the pier that you just kind of walk up, and they sometimes they can, when they close up, they kind of drift off, or there's some sort of schedule going on. You don't quite know what the routine is, but some of these smaller, like exotic places to shop and eat are mobile. They kind of break off and drift, and another one will come in, and you're trying to get used to the fluidity of this place as it kind of shifts and kind of breathes and expands. But you do manage to find a couple of small skiffs that are selling cloth. Some of it is whole cloth, like bolts of like various colored silks and patterned whole cloth and things of that nature. You also find one that has a couple of racks of varying uh, just attire from different lands. You see some desert wear. You see some you see some more cold weather. You see very like regal looking, like very froofy things. Like we're talking like the French collars that like at a Shrek kind of deal. I mean, you see a lot of different styles here.
Uh-huh.
It's especially with that role, you can kind of drift around and find a bit of what you're looking for. I'm not sure what you're looking for as far as style goes, but you can find made outfits. You can also find whole cloth.
Now, Quinn, what can I afford?
How much do you have?
Do not laugh at the end of that. I am a royal bitch.
You are you? I seemed I seem to remember that was a point of contention not too long ago.
Shut up. No one asked you.
My apologies.
Well, I have 4 gold pieces, 3 of the silvery one below it. I don't remember what it's called.
That's platinum.
The platinum, and
So
then
the
I
ones
have some.
the okay, yeah. So the lowest one on your thing is platinum, and those are in each one of those is worth 10 gold. So you essentially have like 14 gold and some pennies.
Yay!
Um, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for like a not really a cape, but like a shawl in a sense that goes over shoulders and stuff like that to cover the bare chest that I keep getting made fun of about. In case we happen to pay Switcher a visit, I will be covered this time.
Oh, great. Something for him to peel back. Wonderful. You being coy now.
You put that voice away right now.
You brought him up. Just saying. So basically, you want. Yeah, it sounds like you're wanting a cloak.
Yes.
But a short one. Like shoulder blade length cloak.
I will see if I can find one.
How fancy are you looking for here? I mean, what are you just looking for something of like a purple or like a silk, something heavier?
Silk is always preferred, Gwen. You should know that.
Hey, you know what? I'm not here to judge your tastes or to assume your tastes.
You should always assume my taste.
Well, you don't have the taste that I like sometimes, so, you know.
So, I'm trying to send this to you. And it's kind of like this in cut, but not necessarily materials. So,
Yeah, I mean a visual.
The bottom part, I say, would be a good area for silk. And the second part could still be a good area for like a woolly kind of material or something fluffier. And
Okay. All right, you wanted that essentially with a hood.
and I would love it in red or black.
You would love it in red or black. Okay, I'm trying to think of what that's actually called. But
It's called
Cossack, I think.
it's a shoulder cloak.
Shoulder cloak. Okay.
It's like a Viking style kind of thing.
Kind of. But okay. All right. So you have this thing that goes just kind of it ends a little bit like right at your rib cage kind of deal in red. You said you wanted it in silk.
if possible.
And did you is it fur trimmed like you had put there, or is it just straight up?
I'm sorry, what?
So what you okay, so you find this thing, it's made out of silk. It does have a hood and it has an edging but not uh with these kind of this looping pattern. Simple but kind of pretty. It's in a deep red with kind of a black border along it with this golden thread kind of woven in to create this kind of
Oh,
looping.
it's so pretty. I was like,
And
dwarf it.
they're asking 7 gold for it.
Asking what?
7 gold for the little hooded cloak, hooded cape.
Perfect soul for good.
Okay, so you buy that thing. So as you're putting it on, the fit is pretty nice. There's still based on the corset that you're wearing.
Uh-huh.
You know, as you're kind of moving around, there's that little peak of flesh between where depending on how you're moving your arms and whatnot, and as you're
Yep.
walking around, there's that little peak of skin where the two don't quite overlap.
You are welcome.
Someone will be welcome. But generally, you have something kind of equivalating a shirt or an upper torso covering anyway.
I will wear it out.
I'm sure you will. And it does have a little hood that can be flipped up. So
Sounds
good on you.
Now I will venture back and start trying to find Scotty because I'm assuming that she's separated from me.
Yes.
Like a dwarf.
Scotty is apparently not a fashionista. It's okay.
No.
So you are looking for books, yes?
It's
Well,
obvious.
I'm looking for books, but also like interesting magic items.
Okay, well, you can go ahead and check your investigation.
Okay. Hold on, I can't see it.
Look at it.
I don't know. It's hard to see things.
Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. So again, you're a little amazed by the workings and the shifting that this place has as well. You do find a place that is selling tomes from all over, really. People are very excited to actually have the sun back, whereas the people of this town were going a little stir crazy because without any reliable means to get places, some people who have not foreign traders have been stuck here trying to peddle. They've been surviving trying to peddle their wares, and goods can go from Freeport inland to Escandrun, but nothing can come out or nothing new can come in. And people were really starting to get twitchy about that. You do find a couple of tomes. You do find a couple of people selling lower end magic items, I guess you could say. Mostly some spell scrolls, a couple of wands.
Why would she need a wand?
Wands contain spells. Uh,
Amongst other uses.
Do we know what kind of spells they contain?
no, we're letting that pause drag out so that Roro can
God,
know
I had to
his
skip
so Roro can know his shame, so he can feel bad about his life choices.
I don't feel bad about my life
Yeah,
choices.
I didn't think you would, but we were giving it a shot. Well, of course, I don't have the book that I needed directly out, so bear with me on that. Okay, so yeah, I mean wands like magic missile, for instance, have 6 charges, which recover charges each day, and it's basically free castings.
Ooh.
Yeah, they can be expensive,
Mm-hmm.
but that is essentially what they are there for.
Like how expensive?
Well, let's see. A
Like work
wand.
the corner expensive.
Well, that depends entirely on how good you think you are. Um, so, like a wand of magic missile is currently selling for 550 gold.
Okay, so she wanders away from the wands.
Get on the corner.
I mean, she is getting looks. She is exotic looking. Um,
Oh dear.
Yeah,
No.
Scotty's a hot piece of ass. Is Romo getting looks?
you are rather unique.
You mean gorgeous?
We're going to go with the base level of unique.
Can she look for anything about like um like the whole faith thing to see if she could find something interesting in that context? Seeing as she did talk to Gil about him learning from a library.
Go ahead and give me another investigation, please.
Yes, she can.
You do find some people who are selling various tomes of not magical stuff, but like you find you find what is an equivalent of an encyclopedia salesman.
Oh, great.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Uh, he's got a small stack of books bound in leather cord to keep the volumes together. That has topics on just it's kind of like little primers on just varying things. Uh, it's he'll let you look briefly through one of them, and it has like little breakdowns of the topics of like, hey, well, here are some plants and survive. Here are some plants that are edible in the wild, or like here's how a catapult here's the physics behind a catapult. It's just like it is kind of like a small time encyclopedia. It's a collected work of just books, and he is willing to let the set of them go for 100 gold.
Good lord. Okay, so she steps away from the expensive books before she rips something.
Uh, as you kind of you go about, you can find a couple of books that have uh, some basic information about divine figures. Nothing terribly in depth, but you do find a couple, and it's about 10 gold for like a set of 3.
Now Roro comes walking down the store one. Scotty, have you seen a blue hair or a blue skinned horned hot woman walking through here? Dragoness, asking strangers. Woohoo! What do I need to roll for this?
I'm dealing with this one last thing here. Is like, was this something that you were going for? Yay, nay?
I'm sorry. I'm such a picky shopper.
You could be a picky shopper. That's fine. I'm having you finish up with this line of inquiry before potentially annoying you with Roro.
Oh,
Okay.
Not even sorry.
let Roro
Actually,
find her.
Jeez.
can we go back to the spell scrolls?
Yes.
I didn't really look at those, and now I'm curious.
All right.
Okay.
Well, here's the basis of what you need to know. In we'll say uh, in metagame terms. Let me bring this back up here because that's so. If you want to buy a first level or a cantrip scroll, it's going to cost you 110 gold.
Jesus.
And these are single use or you can spend the money to copy it into your spellbook and learn the spell. You won't be able to learn a cantrip you can't put a cantrip into your spell book, I don't believe.
Uh-huh.
But first level and higher, you can scribe into your book.
And how much is scribing it?
Scribing, what did I put as?
If you
Oh
let
God,
Roro
I
talk,
know I went into this with Opie. I just can't remember if I had written it down somewhere.
and if you let Roro talk, he could probably convince the guy just to give you all that whole table.
See, I don't believe that. Last time
Oh,
she went shopping with him, they almost got chased from the town.
this is true.
He's a different person now.
It's quite the opinion you have there.
He's a different person now. The meditation really helping.
Says
The
the
meditation
marks
that you
on his
still
sleeve.
have yet to actually succeed at once.
It's a work in progress,
Yeah,
but it's working.
yeah, it is. It's definitely a work in progress. Oh my God.
Gail's
Why did
twitching.
I?
He doesn't know why.
Why? Why? Why did I agree to this?
It's kind of cute.
I mean, he has to have a little bit of fun leaving marks on Roro.
Shh.
It's what I do to blow off steam at the moment.
Yeah, talk about blowing steam. Are you going to let Roro find Scotty or not?
I'm looking at something real quick here.
Let me roll for it.
I'm trying to get her the information about scribing because I know I had altered something like that. Um, okay, I don't have that yet, but I know there was some information. I can get that for you. You can go ahead and do your investigation check. How about that?
Yay.
Are you talking to me or Roro?
To Roro. I might just be unleashing him
Oh
on
my
you. Yeah, no,
god.
you're not finding her.
Well, I'll just
Not
keep
not not
screaming
right.
and
Not right
bothering
yet.
people.
So yeah, I mean scrolls, 110 gold, but you would have your pick of any first level spell.
Okay, let's go with this. If I'm doing my math correctly, I have 25 gold pieces.
So how much platinum
So
do you have?
that's including the platinum.
Okay,
It's 5 gold pieces and 6 platinum, so I'm guessing that's
21.
okay.
Because each platinum is worth 10.
Okay. I took way too much gold off your stuff.
Oh my gosh. Put it back!
The hell?
Put it back now!
What is going on over there?
That's right.
What even is your lives?
What is your bro?
Do I need to call somebody to do a wellness check over there? What's going on?
I'm sorry.
Are you good now? Damn. Deep breath.
What are we doing?
I don't know. What are you doing?
Scotty's trying to look for anything within her price range.
So you have 21 gold.
Ask the man. God, woman. Let Mervo do
Well, you did have the religious primers, quote unquote, for 20. I mean, that was a thing, at least.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with that then.
Okay.
Mervo can get you that whole table for like a peak of your leg and 1 gold.
Wow.
Well, her legs are pretty much already showing all the time. So
I know, but I mean like a peak.
Jesus. She'd rather just pay the money.
I had a peek of his legs then. That's just as good.
You hear that silence?
I was trying not to
There should
concentrate
be
on that.
there should be crickets in the background.
I only concentrate on the positive things in my life.
I think I'm confused with math here. Platinums are
Each
gold?
each platinum is 10 gold.
Okay. I think. Okay.
Would you like me to do the math for you?
No.
So yeah, Scotty, you have your books on religion, and that's when you hear just faintly off in the distance that Scotty.
Turns and walks the other way.
Wow. Okay.
Have you seen a blue skinned horned bitch? Yeah, he's changing his words now.
Wow. Ugh. By the time you get someone who we'll say recognizes or who remembers seeing such a woman, she has long since wandered off elsewhere. You can
Could you tell me
you can
that
make a second check if you'd like.
for an investigation?
Yeah.
I'm never finding this bitch.
Yeah, no, she's just kind of drifting off. It's you've been wandering around asking for an hour or so, and you've gotten a couple of like, oh yeah, I thought I saw her over this way. How long ago was that? 30 minutes ago. Ah! This is a big place and a lot of winding paths, and
So Scotty's in the mood to investigate because she's never been in a big town before,
okay.
to her memory. So should I roll investigation to see if she can find like a tavern or something interesting?
You can find taverns. There are places to drink around here. There are places to eat around here.
If you're going to get a drink without Roro, you're just a bitch.
She's going to get a drink in peace.
She's used to being on her own. She's not worried about
I am a little bit.
I'm kind of worried about Roro too, but that's not going to stop me from doing anything.
So yeah, she can just stroll right into a tavern.
Oh, you can find a couple, yeah.
Got him.
It's a haunting specter of a voice. So
He has
while in the
horns,
tavern,
sexy black
what is it?
horns.
Horns are white.
Are they white?
They're white.
Maybe
They're
that's why
blonde.
your investigation is so you're fucking up her description.
You've given like 5 different descriptions. Nobody knows who you're looking for.
none of
Something like
them
blue.
describe Scotty.
I think her hair is blue with her skin. She looks
You
like she's
know,
gonna murder you.
Sergio, a guy about like a heavy set thin guy with hair. May or may not be 3 owls in a raincoat. We don't know. They must never find out. Okay, so there's that. Scotty, what are you doing in the tavern?
Leaving Roro out of everything.
Well, besides that, we knew that was happening.
Let's see. She's just gonna like vaguely order a drink. She doesn't know anything about Order Tavern.
Vaguely ordering a drink.
Yeah, she's more interested in all the people around.
So basically, the drink is there to keep you from getting kicked out.
Yes.
Okay. To my primer book. Because fuck it, I can still use 3rd edition info for something. As soon as I find where I have all my drinks.
Maybe Roro should give up and just go to the tavern. We might just bump into her.
Or maybe he should just go off onto the corner like he was suggesting other people do.
You know, he doesn't need to do that. He could pay for what he wanted.
She bought stuff that she wanted. Some
What?
things. she bought some of what she wanted.
She found lots of things. She just couldn't find anything she could afford.
This is true.
Books.
Food and beverage list, because I spent way too long compiling this lists. Okay. So, what sort of thing are you looking for in a drink?
I don't know.
She doesn't even know. She just
Wines, ales, spirits.
Again, Scotty wouldn't know.
She's
How
just
much
gonna
are you
stare at
How much
him.
are you
He's
looking
going
to?
be too afraid to ask.
She's
How much
gonna
are you
say
looking to
yes
spend?
The first thing he suggests.
Well, how clearly out of her depth in a tavern. How much are you looking to spend on a drink?
Not much.
Not much.
Moderate.
Okay.
2 bronze pieces.
Moderate.
Copper. Whatever.
All right. You are given for 6 silver. Actually, scratch that. You're probably looking for something more than a shot of something.
Yeah, she's thinking that she's gonna get a cup of something.
Okay, she wants a cup of something.
Would you like some milk? Do you want some more milk, Scotty?
She's not a kitty.
Scotty's a hottie.
Okay, so jeez. So you're given a common a large tankard of a common ale for 4 copper pieces.
Okay.
Roro could talk that down for you, but
They charge him triple.
How many gold equals a copper? How many coppers are in a gold piece?
They're pennies.
Oh,
If you consider gold a gold coin $1, yeah.
Okay. So
Copper is a penny. Silvers are dimes.
Okay. So she's
So
gonna take her drink somewhere to sit and people watch pretty much.
Okay.
Long black hair, Scotty.
Give me a perception check.
Me?
No, Scotty. She's the
Oh.
one doing. She's the one doing people watching.
Oh.
Okay, there's quite a bit of activity. A lot of excitement because over the last week or something, they're like there are people they're waiting for new boats to come in. They've sent a couple off. They're waiting. A lot of excitement of like, hey, things can start getting back to normal here. Um, but yeah, you've got exotic looking people. Well, exotic to you because you've all you can remember is people bundled up in very warm stuff. The temperature around Freeport is actually pretty pretty temperate to kind of on the slightly warmer side of a temperate climate. Think kind of like May, like mid-May.
Okay.
So it hasn't really heated up. It's still kind of cool in the evenings. But it's definitely warmer than you're used to. Uh, you're not seeing people bundled in thick cloths and whatnot. And there's a lot of exotic flares. You think you see some people wearing just very light robes. You're definitely seeing more skin than normal, not in any directly suggestive way, but people are definitely dressed lighter around here. Um, some of which kind of look like what you're used to wearing, but on people that don't look like they have a resistance to cold like you do. So it's like it's interesting. You get lost in the fact that there there's no one elegant around here, but it's people. There's a lot of holy crap.
Then she's like a complete and utter total nerd and kind of, I would say, a scientist since she's an alchemist. Is it all right if she's like writing in one of her books, like kind of just taking note of all the different people and activities?
That's fine. I mean, you're off in a corner. You're doing
She's
what you want, and no one's
enjoying
bothering
not
you.
being on a boat and not being with a whole bunch of sails or pirate people.
I'm sorry, Roro is a joy.
And I probably not completely enjoying her drink, grimacing a little bit. She's probably wondering what she bought.
It's kind of, I mean, it's an average ale. I mean, it's a beer.
So grimacing.
But yeah, no one's bothering you.
That's
You
okay.
don't stand out. I mean, you kind of stand out, but there's a lot. There are people here who are used to seeing exotic type things.
Scotty's an exotic type thing.
You do stand out a bit more than a lot of people, but it's not like, oh my god, we've never seen anything like you. But it's like, well, we've seen some people with wings here. We've seen some people with really exotic colored hair, or I think that one might have had hooves. I don't know. It's like a couple of tieflings, hanging about.
No one's offended that she's a white dragon.
No one seems to take any specific notice. I mean, you are a pale woman with long black hair and horns. They've seen tieflings. Tieflings kind of come in varying colors. There's nothing keying them off to that screams dragon. I mean, the scales are one thing, but
Are
no
any of
one,
them shiny purple?
huh?
Are any of them shiny and purple and look the same?
You really don't want them here.
Exactly.
That's a bad idea for certain people. I mean, you thought Switcher was after Roro. This one comes in stereo, okay? He'll have him in collars sitting by his throne.
You know
Sounds
what?
like the Lindsay's dream.
And
I
and half of them will be into it. Uh,
You know what? I give up on Scotty. She can just miss the boat. We'll go to her destined place without her.
Okay, Scotty's not even thinking they're gonna leave her. She's just enjoying the town.
yeah. Give me one last investigation.
Oh my
As it
God.
is well into dark.
You
Oh,
could have just
that's
passes the book stand that she was at. Oh, she must have been.
like, hey, she likes
Walks away.
books.
He likes books, something, right?
It's come on. It looks like my connection was interrupted, so I didn't see what the roll was.
Oh, our connection says the same thing.
Ah, damn you, roll 20. Why you do me like this?
If you gave the chance, Romo could do you better.
Well, I mean, if you're offering. Okay, that's loaded completely the wrong game. Okay.
Mine does that a lot.
Uh, okay. I'm pretty sure that Scotty and Roro are not in Sanctuary's Iron Terrace, so
Let's hope not.
that would be odd. And you saw this weird dwarf carrying 1,000 sandwiches. Okay, according to this, your investigation was a 5.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you
okay.
for announcing it.
Yeah, no problem. I'll put that right front and center on there. Yeah, you got all 5. So you are having no luck. you just you have been at this for like 2 solid hours looking for her. You don't even know.
You know what? Romo takes his first tavern he sees and just goes in. Fuck you, Scotty.
Wow, there's some noisy ass people in the hall. So you're in a tavern. Congratulations.
Yay.
What now?
Oh. Did we lose him? Gonna go up to the first opening in the counter and wait for the bartender.
Bartender will show up.
What is your finest drink?
Finest drink. Well, the bartender will go and you hear the bartender actually rustle with a set of keys before dipping down behind the bar, and you hear a lock unlocking. So whatever this is kept secured.
Roro's really drinking after his run-in with Switcher.
I guess.
Okay, that was a homebrew. We don't know what that was.
It was very likely a strong grog, and yeah, that it's
Okay.
something that could be akin to battery acid. It was
It was like
pretty
a
gnarly
battery
stuff.
brew, okay.
It was like a weak poison.
It was technically in D&D, all alcohol is considered poison. Just saying, it's handled with the same rules.
Good to know.
um, so yeah, with that, God, noisy kids, just running around in the damn halls. Okay, so this bottle is pulled out, and it is a frosted purple glass, and this it is a really shiny, like the label is black and has a sheen of golden. It has a golden filigree on the shining black of twisting vines and a very joyous rotund man lying back on a Grecian style uh, style like a fainting couch, I guess, or a shay couch. I don't know how to describe it off the top of my head, but and and in this rotund, happy man, his in his grasp is this bushel of grapes, and it is put on the counter here. This is our finest wine that we have available.
I have a very faint memory of a very special person. I can't seem to remember her name right now. Looking at this bottle resembles her.
Looks at the fat man on the bottles.
No! Purple, frosted, there's black in there.
Scotty has no purple on her.
When she blushes, that's all she does.
I mean, not far off on that one, but
It's pretty. How much is it?
for the bottle, 300 gold.
And for a glass?
75.
This really is not my taste at all. Put Scotty back on the shelf.
Who?
How about a simple small glass of...
Of what?
How about a simple small glass of wine? What's the... What could you give me for like 5 gold?
For 5 gold. Well. And you're looking for a glass for 5 gold?
Yes.
Well, we can give you a bottle of our in-house limoncello for 2.
Ooh, that is my taste.
Let's see, we've got that. We also have, well, that's for a glass, you said, right?
Yes.
Yes, a glass of amaretto for 2 gold. They also, yeah, for 2 gold, you can get either a limoncello, an amaretto, or an absinthe for glasses of like spirits. A brandy would be 9 silver.
How about Armorella?
A glass of amaretto will be 2 gold.
And pour it. Respectfully.
All right, so you now have a glass of amaretto, which is essentially about like 3.5 shots worth. It's a smaller glass, but it's there.
Roro cringes just a little tiny bit at the first sip, having flashbacks of Switcher.
Oh no, this is infinitely more pleasant than the swill that Switcher was trying to get you very prom date drunk on.
Yes, but the alcohol portion is still there.
It's a very gentle. As you're taking your first, give me a Constitution save.
Oh god. No.
Oh, it's going. It's sweet. It's kind of got that sweet almondy type taste. It's very pleasant, and it is going. It's starting to go towards your head
Very quickly.
very quickly. Da. Let's see, what do we got for that? So temporarily, your wisdom and your dexterity are reduced by 1.
That's rude.
You've got a decent buzz going on. Like a very decent buzz. I mean, you flubbed the save. I'm just gonna say there, it goes kind of straight to the brain cage.
Someone save Roro from this tavern before he makes a complete mess of himself.
You wanted to go to the bar.
No, I wanted to find the dumb blue bitch.
She's not blue, she's white. The shadows make her blue.
Is that's what I'm looking at? Dummy.
Right. So, you're sitting there with your amaretto, and in a bar halfway across the pier, there is Scotty people watching.
What?
Is this how you're spending your evening?
Well, until she decides to go to the boat after she finishes her drink. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a save, Scotty.
Hey,
Constitution.
I'm sorry. What'd you say? You broke up.
A Constitution save, please. Yeah, you're fine.
What the absolute hell?
Scotty can handle her out.
Oh my
Well,
god.
you technically had advantage on this one too because you were barely drinking at it, and this was a pretty common beer. It had a low save.
I demand
You
a
just
recount.
okay. Let's see. Rolled a 1 and rolled a 3. Yeah, I recounted. You're fucking drunk. So Scotty will eventually wander back to the boat. Roro, are you finishing your drink? I imagine you are.
Yeah, I did.
Which I'm going to have you do 2 more Constitution saves, please.
You said 2?
2, yes.
Here we go. Okay, well.
And you had Amaretto?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Burrow's gonna slam the glass onto the table and be like, "You're pretty, sir."
Oh, look at that. You've gotten by relatively unscathed. So you're total at -3 to dexterity and your wisdom. So there's that. Which is
I
not
think
too,
he's
which is
going
not
to
too terrible, but
attempt to make it back to the boat. I just don't know how far he's going to make it back to the boat.
well, what are your scores at currently?
Oh, I'm supposed to be keeping track.
Well, what is your normal scores -3?
For dexterity, it's 1.
Am I looking at that part or that part?
Your
Oh.
the actual number. The actual score, not the modifier.
Oh.
Oh, and then don't know.
So that would put you at a 9.
Yeah, a 9.
In
Dexterity.
and what about wisdom?
It would put him at a 11.
Okay. It takes you a little bit because you're wobbly on your feet a bit, but really, it's essentially you make it back to the boat.
After calling nearly everybody I walked by pretty.
I don't think you're quite that drunk unless you are a really flirty drunk. We don't know.
Oh, we know. We know.
Okay. So you both make it back to the boat. Go ahead and roll perceptions for the both of you. Okay, so you're also at 15. So that would be like a 14 or a 13 from. Yeah, okay. All right, you make it back to the boat.
Scotty, look! Scotty, I have silk.
I'm glad you found what you were looking for.
I wish you would have been there. There's something really cute for you there too. It comes in blue.
That's good, Roro.
But there's also a purple. It looks just like when you blush.
So, you've been drinking.
What? Laughs uncontrollably. Where's my vicious laugh?
That's vicious mockery and not Tasha's hideous laughter.
Right now, it's a vicious laughter.
You're not that far gone, man.
Maybe he's not trying to be that far gone. Maybe he's just overdoing it because that's what Roro does.
I mean, he could be playing it up. That's true. So the elf has got a new shawl with a hood.
The finest of all the land.
I'm sure it is.
And the two of you rest.
Scotty, why is your room so far away?
Because you tend to have boundary issues.
No, I don't. Oh.
I'm just gonna like close the door on you.
Good move.
Good night, Scotty. I'll sing you a song if you like.
She's already closed the door. She's ignoring you.
Yeah, I can yell through the door, honey. Sound is not cut off because a piece of wood was put in the way.
Roro, you get yourself to bed. Stop annoying the rest of us.
Okay, which one said that?
It sounded like Tallow.
Oh. Oh, he needs a new voice.
He doesn't sound like Switcher. You need to calm yourself.
Shut up. Everyone sounds like Switcher.
To you, maybe. You're missing out on my amazing voice talent that doesn't exist.
Oh, sorry. I just go repair my hearing. That's a thing. Yeah, silence. Bitches. And you're dragon.
What dragon?
Oh, I didn't notice.
My dragon is resting with her kitty.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Nothing.
That's not a euphemism. That's just the familiar.
And he's adorable.
So,
call it.
you've got one more day in Freeport before you're supplied enough. It's taking a little bit to get materials because not a lot has actually come in just yet. So, what are you doing with your last day in anything in particular?
Raro's going to report to Gil for meditation, and that's all he's going to do. And his finest shoulder cloak is folded away into his bag.
Yeah, because he's not letting you wear that shit. Not while you're training.
Oh, he doesn't want me to wear something that covers it. Huh.
Actually, you don't have meditation today.
Oh.
No. You have running. There's a lot of long piers here in Freeport, and he's making sure you get well acquainted with them.
Well,
So you're going to need to make, I'll say, 3 dexterity checks.
what?
Okay, so it starts off shaky. You're like, because you were like, okay, fine, let's just get all this, and no, he kind of picks you up right out, like right under the armpit, drags you up off to the boat, and then just like run,
Right.
run, and he basically just. But it takes you a moment to like wait run as that little reed just kind of taps at your calf, run. And he's essentially chasing you around Freeport for a couple of hours. You are starting to get marathon jog. I need you to make a constitution save as well.
You need a what?
Con save. You feel like you're going to die. You failed 2 of these, so you had disadvantage. So holy
Have
shit.
you guys seen the size of my heels, please?
Yeah, but you've also been made to have you run for several hours in your heels. I'm gonna say probably not.
Nope.
So yeah, by the end of it, you do end up right where where the drift is docked, but you feel like you're gonna die. Your legs are burning. That lactic acid has built up and it's chewed its way through your legs. You've got lash marks around your ankles where Gil has caught up with you pretty easily.
Gil's having way too much fun with this.
He might be. So that's what you're up to today. Scotty?
So
Here we go.
she'll want to talk to Talib.
Uh
Is
you
he
could
on the boat
probably
or
you
is
can
he gone?
you can catch him before he leaves the boat for the day.
Okay, so she can just kind of like follow him.
Are you define follow? Are you stalking or joining him wandering
I'm
around?
joining. She's not stalking, I promise.
So
Okay.
this isn't going to be like Switcher's Camp?
No.
So yeah, he's are you intervening or are you just keeping him company?
Uh, she wanted to ask him questions.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. You can go ahead and have a conversation as you're walking around.
It's 3. The kids. Children. Small human beings that you...
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you blaming her for the small humans?
Yes.
Kind of have a feeling that you might have had a part in that. Okay.
It's just the kids are up.
All right. Well, you know what? We can handle that in the interim. That's not a problem
Okay.
because that will also allow me to get hopefully some better visuals as to what's going on here. But yes, we can close that off for today.
All right.
Thank you, Queen.
You're welcome.
You're making fun of me.
I'm making fun of life. I'm exhausted.
Well,
But
take a nap.
yeah, no, I've got to prepare for tonight.
Take a nap.
There's not much prep to do. I'll tell you that much. But there'll be something, I'm sure.